Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shai. So we gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders over all of Israel, whether they can accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the occupants pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four ends of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Aquath who are listening and learning, their few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from the GMS Orlando Count, coming at you another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. Another daily edification. Lord's willing, this be edifying. I'm going to title this lesson, You Still Don't Get It. This is for educational purposes only. This is not for monetary gain. I do not own the copyright to this video. This is for educational purposes only. Lord willing, this be edifying. You still don't get it. 2021, the year of the Haitian of Yahweh Shema Shai, and Jake still don't get it. Lord willing, this be edifying. I'm going to start with this clip first. This is Eartha Kitt. Check this out.
The first question is always, how far back can you trace your family?
I don't have a family. I'm an orphan, so I know nothing about my blood relations. I only know what I was told. That I am one of the children of the cotton plantation owner's sons, who took advantage of, obviously, my mother, and therefore put me in a position of not being accepted by anybody.
And this was a plantation in South Carolina?
Yes.
And now,
St. Matthews, South Carolina.
St. Matthews?
Yeah.
I also had heard North South Carolina?
Well, we didn't know until I got a birth certificate about 6 or 7 years ago.
Now, this is Eartha Kitt, who played Catwoman.
When I decided to find a birth certificate to know what year I was actually born in, and for if I could see if there was a name on the birth certificate that would identify a father. But we found the birth certificate through the University of, what is the name of the university? I went down, Benedict College, that I went down to do a benefit for. And as I'm always jokingly, meaningfully asking a question, or actually asking a question but meaning that I really want you to do this, and I said to the people who called me to do the benefit, well, since I'm doing this for nothing and I'm coming to South Carolina, would you have your students or someone do a research in Eartha Kitt to see if there's a birth certificate somewhere? Well, they did, and they found the birth certificate. But the birth certificate is all in the same handwriting, so the identification of a father is not real, made by the midwife.
So you think your feeling is that the midwife made it up? I mean, that she...
No, she told what she thought was the right thing to do, because if you have a white father, they protect both sides. So they don't give the identification of the father because they don't have to.
And so she put in the name...
Whatever name she thought of.
Which was Keith, something Keith Field or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's Eartha Mae Keith. Keith. So the pronunciation of the name through centuries obviously became Kitt. But it's supposedly a derivative of a German family, because I have gotten letters from Germany through the years that said that their great 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 grandparents went to America and they became farmers in that area of the world. And their name was Keith. And therefore they think that I'm one of them.
And so this plantation was owned by the Keith family?
Maybe, must be. But I don't remember that exactly what their name was, because I never talked to anybody. I never wanted to be seen. But I do remember as I was a child picking cotton along with the rest of the field workers, that this particular one boy of that family who used to come and pick up the bales of cotton or the big sheets of cotton at the end of the day, he was the one that was always throwing me food, nuts, or whatever was prevalent at the moment. Throwing me. He was throwing me food, yes, nuts and fruits and things. And always
throw food at an animal. Person.
Well, we were treated like animals. What else were you treated like when I was a kid in the South? We were not treated like people. We were treated like, what did it say? We're supposed to be, if you have one drop of white blood in you, you're still considered, what? An animal. We were not considered, what was it? You, three-quarters of it, yes. Right.
Yeah.
Like they said the American Indians. There was nobody here. And they called them savages. And they destroyed them. They didn't, thank God they didn't destroy all of them. But it's amazing how a group of people will come into an area of the world, destroy the culture, destroy the isms of the people, and 200 years later they go back and dig it up to find out how intelligent those people were. I never did.
Now the first thing she said that there's no end of all the people. She said, thank God that he didn't let them destroy all the Indians. Well, there's no end of all the people, man. The Lord always leave a remnant. This is Ecclesiastes 4:16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So you see, it say they also that come after shall not rejoice in him. And you can see right here, Eartha Kitt is not rejoicing, knowing that her lineage is of Esau Edom. And even she was treated, she said, at what they call us, what they call so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, 3/5 of man. And she was treated the same way. You see, a tear on a plantation. And then she said that they came over here and destroyed. Who? Gad and Reuben. So this is Numbers. This is Numbers 35 and 33. And it reads, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and established a city by iniquity. You see? So she's basically bringing it out, man. Why? Because of unrighteous fathers. As a matter of fact, let's get that. Ecclesiasticus 41 and verse 7. The children will complain of ungodly fathers, because they shall be reproached for his sake.
Didn't understand that kind of thinking, but that's what you call civilization does. Kill off one culture to put in theirs. and then they realize what they've done, killing the intelligence of another person or another group of people, and then they dig it up. I see so much of that on television these days because I don't read as much as I used to, even though I was an avid reader at one time. My eyes are not that great anymore, so I get tired easily reading, but I watch History Channel. It's amazing what is being shown now. The history of the other worlds that we are now finding, how intelligent they were. And nothing that is being invented today or even thought of today, it was already thought of 2,500 billion years ago. And it's like knowledge goes around in the air and all of a sudden, somebody, like Leonardo da Vinci, Dr. Einstein, George Washington Carver. Do we know as much about George Washington Carver as we should? As we should know? Not how. But it's coming out now, a lot of it. And I am very grateful that television can be used at the school.
The Lord set it up, man. Okay? He set this up to put us in remembrance of these things. This is Isaiah 49. This is Psalms 49:11. Their inward thoughts is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Amerigo Vespucci, right? America. Then you got Leo Sciphios Africanus. It said, nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beasts that perish. This their way is their folly, yet their prosperity approveth their sins. You see? Wicked, man. Throughout the four corners of the earth. This is Micah chapter 2 and 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family that do I devise an evil, for which shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. Hey, so their time is approaching, man. It's a verse 4, in that day shall one take up a parable against you, and lament with a doleful lamentation, and say, we be utterly spoiled. He have changed the portion of my people. Now have he removed it from me. Turning away, he have divided our fields. So what was done to so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians is going to be done unto thee. See, shame for spewing should be on thy glory, on your glory.
As I understand it, was part Cherokee, talking about the American Indian and that heritage.
Yes.
Tell me what you remember about her.
I don't remember much about her. I do remember that she kept giving me away because she thought I was a nuisance because she wanted to marry someone who already had 5 or 6 children. And he said, I don't want that yellow gal in my house. So she gave me away to a family that would accept me as a working mule, but I was given away several times to a family that would use me as Cinderella.
No remembrance of her physically? Did you look like her? Or?
I remember the woman that they sent me to in New York. They called it up north that they sent me to. Because obviously they had written her a letter that said if you do not take Eartha May away from that particular family and the last family that I was given to, that she would either be worked to death, abused to death, or starved to death. That's how badly they thought I was being treated. And of course I didn't know any differently. I thought everyone was being treated the way I was being treated, except for the darker skinned people who thought that I was not a member of the group and treated me like that. But the lady up north sent for me.
And that's another thing with the Willie Lynch letters, man. You see, he had it well, the light-skinned Jake hated the dark-skinned Jake, and the older Jake hated the young Jake. And the house Jake hated the field Jake. You see examples of Psalm 64 and verse 8. They shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Now, far as you know, and we hearing it now that she's a tear. Okay? She's from the nation of Esau Edom. But she was treated as if she was a Jake.
And she said that she had gotten this letter from, I guess, the church people who told them that she'd better get me out of there. And when I came to New York, which in where I'm talking now geographically was up north, she looked like me. She had those features. She had that majestic, tall ism about her. And she said she was my mother. But she never explained anything more than that. So I have the impression that she was the one that was taken advantage of by the plantation owner's son, and out of shame gave me away, or left me however he did, and ran away. And that's how she wound up here in New York.
Okay, so let me make sure that I'm understanding the sequence here. You were born on this plantation, or around the plantation. You lived there for several years.
Around the
Yeah.
Yes. But we always worked on that plantation.
Right. And then I read somewhere that you and your mother were forced to leave the plantation, particularly because the owner or whoever didn't want this little yellow girl running around. Or no? It wasn't a plantation.
And you know who that was? Usually, when the plantation owner wife found out that he had slept with one of the slaves, and he got her pregnant, and if the slave was pregnant, and the child was born, the plantation's wife used to tell him to get rid of him, man, or sell the child to another plantation. So you see, they made her and her mama leave. Now she said her mama father was a Cherokee Indian, allegedly. So her mama was Jake. You see?
They didn't know what anything was all about. I don't even think that they recognized that. That one son, though, he knew. If the rest of the family knew, I don't know. But they were not the ones that made her leave. I think people in the church realized, or who knows, but people talk. And she kept moving because everywhere she landed, they would see me and they would say, I will take Anna Pearl, which was her child, and she was very dark. And I'd take her, but I won't take her.
So it was the reverse of the kind of what people think of as the normal kind of discrimination in terms of the darker person is the one who's
normal.
Well,
discrimination is on both sides. You know that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But yes,
but it's what people are historically. People are used to darker skinned people being the victims of discrimination.
Yes.
What we're talking about here is a very different situation. You were a victim of discrimination because you were lighter than the average black person.
Yes. So there's discrimination within the group itself.
Absolutely. Why? What was at the core of that discrimination? Why was it?
And they know that you're an illegitimate child. Discrimination comes from that. Not only are you illegitimate, but you're not my color. You're not one of us.
And see, that's the story of the tares in the wheat in Matthew 13th chapter, man. You see? Starting at verse 24. And she also said that there wasn't nothing new under the sun. That everything come back full circle. Which I'm going to read. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It reads, the thing that have been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It have been already of old time, which was before us. Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and power required that which is past. Now check this out. This is a Jake. The title of this video is "The World is Watching. Woman Suing Harvard for Photos of Enslaved Ancestors. Says history is at stake."
Exactly what she did with Renty and his legacy. At that time, she knew about Renty. She knew.
Salakia. Gotta start this back. And I'll start from the top.
Says Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world. We begin in Massachusetts, where the descendant of two enslaved people who were captured in mid-19th century photographs has sued Harvard University, accusing the university of unfairly profiting from their images. Tamara Lanier of Connecticut argues in a lawsuit filed this month that she and other descendants of Renty and Delia, two people held in bondage 169 years ago, should hold the rights to their photographs, not Harvard. Renty and Delia were forced to pose for the photographs in 1850 by a well-known Harvard professor, Louis Agassiz, and he commissioned the images to support his theory of polygenism, which purports that human races have different origins and that Africans and African Americans were inferior to whites. The theory was used to justify the ongoing enslavement of black people prior to the Civil War, as well as segregation.
The images of Renty and Delia were used in a recent Harvard conference titled Universities and Slavery, Bound by History. This comes after administrators at Harvard and other elite universities have admitted they were founded largely through the labor of enslaved African people and profits generated by the slave trade. Well, for more, we're joined by two guests. Tamara Lanier is the plaintiff in the lawsuit against Harvard University, the great-great-great-granddaughter of Renty, the enslaved man whose image was captured in the mid-19th century daguerreotype owned by Harvard. Also with us, famed civil rights lawyer Benjamin Crump, representing Tamara Lanier in the lawsuit against Harvard University over the images of her ancestors. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Tamara, let's begin with you. Explain how you discovered that Harvard had these photographs of your relatives, of your...
Now, let me read this. We're going to play some of this. Because Jake still don't get it, man. They still don't understand. This is Isaiah 42 and 22. And it reads, "But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none deliver, for a spoil, and none shall restore." She won by restoring her family's picture of her ancestors. What about the nation of Israel? Talking about African Americans. We ain't African. We understand now through these scriptures that we are not from the sons of Ham. We are from the sons of Shem. We're not African. We Hebrew Israelites. The Africans, the Hamites, and the Israelites are from two separate sons of Noah. We are not the same. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, and for a spoil, and none shall restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? She won about suing these people for some pictures, man. Verse 24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil? Who? Who gave Jacob for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, Yahweh? He against whom we have sinned, for they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. You ain't trying to seek Yahweh Shema Shah and his righteousness. You want about suing for the pictures of your ancestors. Bugged out demons, man. Therefore he have poured out upon him the fear of his anger and the strength of battle, and it have set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burnt him. Yet he laid it not to heart. Jake don't lay none of these things to heart, man. One about the wrong things, man. Who gave us to the robbers? Yahweh Shem Shah did. The Heavenly Father Yahweh did, man. This is Judges 2 and 14. And the anger of the Lord Yahweh was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. Let's listen to this.
Your ancestors.
It's quite an amazing story that started with a request by my mother that I document our lineage, our genealogy. And at her passing, I set out to do exactly that. And that was in 2010, where the internet wasn't as, the information wasn't as readily available as today. And I happened to be out walking for lunch one afternoon, and I stopped into a small ice cream shop, and I was speaking with the owner about my dilemma, and he offered to help. And it was actually him, Richard Morrison of Norwich, who found the images on the internet.
Found the images, and how did you know that Renty was your great-great-great-grandfather?
As a child, my mom often talked about her enslaved ancestors, particularly the man in the image who she fondly referred to as Papa Renty. And she also talked about the fact, of our lineage, how our family was broken apart by slavery. She remembered some of the family names. And so when I met with Rich that afternoon, I gave him the names and the information that my mom had shared with me. And I didn't return to the ice cream shop for a while thereafter, but when I did return, he said he had found amazing information on the internet, and particularly a picture of my grandfather. And the images, the information that Rich sent me included a narrative about who Louis Agassiz was, but he sent me an email with a number of links, and I remember reading the information about Louis Agassiz and being overwhelmed and shocked by it. And then when I opened the link to the picture of Renty, it was a moment for me, because I knew immediately that this was the man that I had heard so much about throughout my childhood.
And Benjamin Crump, could you talk about what you know of how Harvard acquired or utilized these photographs, and why your lawsuit argues that they never legally owned the images that they're profiting from?
Certainly. It was the director, Steve McQueen, who told the story of Solomon Northrop in his Oscar-winning movie 12 Years a Slave. Well, Renty is 169 years a slave, and the basic questions that our lawsuit asks is, one, how long will Harvard continue to condone slavery? And two, when will Harvard University finally free Renty? Harvard University's professor, Louis Agassi, was a racist. While Abraham Lincoln was talking about Emancipation Proclamation, he was going around the country professing that he could prove scientifically that black people were inferior to white people. He was an equal opportunity bigot, because he also fought to keep Jews and people from Ireland out of Harvard University. But in particular, he was focused on black people, proving that they were inferior. And so he wrote all these horrible things about black people to justify the continued enslavement of black people.
See, this is the problem, man. We ain't black, man. We different shades of brown. Okay? So-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are Hebrew Israelites. We ain't black. And nobody is white. We different shades of brown. But this is Jake bugged out, man. Just 2 Peter 3 and 3. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by the way of remembrance. So we know this is the Lord, right? Ain't nothing wrong with, they searching their lineage. Good. But they still talking about African Americans, man. We Hebrew Israelites. If you really searching your lineage, and the truth is here on you on the unicorn, man, on the internet. But they still talking about blacks and African Americans, man.
And he sought to obtain ocular proof. And that's why he went down to South Carolina, because he was looking for pure African. Because after the ban on transporting slaves and importing slaves into America in 1807, many of the slave masters had sexually assaulted and raped so many black women that there were very few pure Africans, as Louis Agassiz had noted. So,
see how bugged out he is? Pure Africans. And see, Jake today in 2021, the year of the hastening Yahweh Shema was shot, and Jake still talking about African Americans, man. Bugged out, man. Bugged out, man. We Hebrew Israelites, man. Jake is so dumbed down, man. I just want to go into a little bit of this, show you how bugged out this is, man. To my Africans, man. It didn't say Africans for sale. All the signs said Negroes for sale. The Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are from the sons of Shem. We come out of the line of Shem, Noah's oldest son. The Africans, the Ethiopians, the Egyptians, the Canaanites, the North and South Africans, they come out of Ham, Noah's youngest son. We are not Africans, man. It tell you that in Exodus 11:7, the Lord do put a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites, man.
he went to Charleston, South Carolina, and started looking there. But he found in Columbia, South Carolina, at Benjamin Franklin Taylor's plantation, Renty and his daughter Delia, and they were referred to as the Black African. And I remember Tamara asking her mother, well, why did they call them the Black African? We're all from Africa. She did not know at that time about Louis Agassiz, and that he was referred to as the Black African because everybody knew that he was a pure African. And this is what Louis Agassiz had been looking for to support his racist beliefs.
And in terms of how Harvard only discovered these photographs, right? That they were stored in a file cabinet in one of its.
You see how bugged out he is? Talking about pure African. We ain't African, man. This is what burns you up, man.
Museums back about 40 years ago. Could you talk about how they've used them since?
Yes, sir. Harvard has used the pictures. They've licensed them. These daguerreotypes are very, very valuable. They are the earliest known photographs of American slaves, and some of the earliest known photographs in America using this daguerreotype. And so Harvard licensed them to be used in films. They were seen apparently in the movie Roots, and they've been used in several books. They are located in the Peabody.
Now you see, this what we be talking about, man. This what we be talking about. Jake don't consider how you get into Africa in the first place. This is what the Lord said this, man. This is Hosea 4:6. Simple, man. Plain. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6 reads, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. This guy's a lawyer and he's dumb as hell, man. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou should be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. All you 2/3 bug-eyed demons that don't repent, the Lord is going to turn your glory into shame. This is Jeremiah chapter 4 and 22. It reads, For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. They think what they're doing right now is good, trying to sue Harvard for these pictures because they made their ancestors pose. You think this is good? The Lord don't care about this, man. They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge, man. You see? Bugged out, man. This is why 2/3 gotta be destroyed, man. 2/3 of you bug out demon, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians gotta be destroyed. I'm not saying there's not nothing wrong with searching out your family lineage. But this is not good according to the Lord's eyes, man. He don't care about this. They didn't mention not one time about the Hebrew Israelites. The pure African, this devil said. What? Lord, when it's edifying, gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rikak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether they can accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the can pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four ends of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Agwath who are listening and learning. Till next time, I say shalom, Wa Abba, the water for tuning in. May Yahweh Shema Shah continue to bless you in your houses. Stay prayed up.